I would like to welcome you to the 5,583rd meeting of the Rotary Club of Chicago. I am going to start this meeting today with sad news. Perhaps you have read in the news today about Linda Mensch, a former member of our club, who passed away tragically in a hit-and-run accident a few days ago. Many of us are saddened by this tragedy, especially Nelly Vasquez Rowland, who a member of our club and the chair of A Safe Haven, because Linda was a very close friend of Nelly's and also was a member of the board of A Safe Haven. We don't have an official obituary yet. You can, if you Google her name, it's going to be all over the news. The person that provoked this accident has not been found yet, nor the vehicle, but at least I wanted to honor Linda with our 3 ring of the bell and a moment of silence. Well, in these uncertain times, the sad and the enjoyable happen at the same time. So I will proceed with our announcements as we regularly do. And sorry, I'm just thinking about what has happened. So. But please know that next Tuesday, our meeting is going to be as the first meeting of the month at 5:30 p.m. At the residence of the General Council of Belgium, Mr. Paul van Halteren. He's the honorary consul of Belgium in Chicago. We are going to have Belgian beer on his rooftop, and for those who wish to attend, please keep in mind that you will need to climb about 60 steps and make sure you drink the right amount so you can walk down when you're done the other 60 steps, okay? So, so that is what is going to happen next Tuesday. As you know, we have a state mask mandate, so thank you all for wearing your masks. The masks will not be required in the rooftop. I'm reading a note here. If inclement weather is forecast, the event will be canceled. A decision on cancellation will be made by noon of next Tuesday. And any prepaid registration fees will be applied to a future meeting or refunded at the request of the attendee. Reminder, again, all in-person attendees must pre-register and prepay if applicable. This includes Rotary One Golden Wheel members and pay-as-you-go members. And also know the meeting will not be live streamed on Zoom or on Facebook. Okay, now with respect to the questions, our speaker is going to be on Zoom today. So hold your questions for all of you who are present until the end of her presentation. And those of you who are on Zoom, please type your questions in the chat box. I would appreciate maybe 1 question per person. Thank you. Well, now I would like to introduce David Hirsch, who is the co-chair of our programs committee, who so kindly invited our speaker to participate in our meeting today. David, the floor is yours.
It's my privilege to introduce today's speaker, Susan McConnell, founder and executive director of Let It Be Us, an Illinois not-for-profit committed to getting children out of the foster care system and into forever homes. Susan has a bachelor's degree as well as an MBA from DePaul University. She's also a graduate of Cornell University's Women in Leadership program, She has a background in human resources and recruiting with 2 law firms, one in Chicago and one in Los Angeles. Susan was also formerly a professional photographer, combining her skills as a photographer and her compassion to improve outcomes for children in foster care. She helped establish the Heart Gallery of Illinois, the state's photo listing of children awaiting adoption, which gives a child significant increased chance of adoption. Susan sits on the Illinois State Foster Care Advisory Council, where she's appointed by the Illinois Director of the Department of Children and Family Services. Susan and her husband, Doug, are the proud parents of 4 adult children, 3 of whom were adopted. Please welcome my friend and neighbor, Susan McConnell. Susan, the Zoom stage is yours.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, David. Thank you for inviting me. Can you all hear me? Is it working? I'm assuming it's working. Let It Be Us Child Welfare Agency. We operate in Illinois, and we are very small but mighty. We have 10 people who work at Let It Be Us. We're headquartered in Barrington, Illinois, but we work throughout the state of Illinois, and we focus on the most populated areas, which are Chicago and the northern region of Illinois. Let It Be Us does a few different things. So what I'd like to do is tell you some problems and then tell you how we approach those problems with solutions in the form of a program. The first problem we have in Illinois is that in Illinois, we do not have enough licensed foster homes. We have right now about 22,000 children in Illinois. About 5 years ago, it was 18,000 children in foster care. The children are all ages from babies to age 21, and they're all races, they're all stages. Some have learning disabilities. They've all been through trauma. And what happens is kids come into foster care because someone recognizes that something is wrong. A regular citizen can go ahead and call the 800 number at DCFS and report that something's wrong, or a mandated reporter like a teacher or a pediatrician can call DCFS and say something's wrong. DCFS does an investigation, and if necessary, children come into foster care. In Illinois, 60% of those children do not return home. Sometimes they're able to be adopted by families, and sometimes they're able to be adopted by other people throughout the state of Illinois. One of the things we do to address the fact that there are not enough licensed foster homes in Illinois for these go to. By the way, what happens to those kids when there aren't enough licensed foster homes? We use shelters in Illinois. We use group homes and we use shelters. Let It Be Us recruits foster parents. We did that in live events. We had working with Zoom on our list of things to do last year, and the pandemic forced us to go a little bit faster. So actually tonight we're hosting our 40th Zoom recruitment webinar. Out of each webinar, we get about 10 foster parents. We get about 40 to 50 people to attend, and then we get about 10 foster parents. What we do with those people who attend our events, who are interested in taking the next step, is we have a coaching program. Those are experienced people who understand foster care and licensing. And they work with those people to understand what it means to be a foster parent. They vet them, and then our coaches help them figure out which agency is the agency to work with them. Then what we do next is really exciting. And for those of you who love technology, you will love this. We operate a database of licensed and open foster homes. So we aggregate this database. We get the information from the parents themselves. We use social media, we use email. And we have a list, a database of 700 licensed foster homes all throughout Illinois, primarily in Chicago and in the northern region. And then caseworkers can come to us and they can say, I need help making this placement. Every agency has a very small database of licensed and open homes. Our database is much larger. And so if you use a larger database, right, makes sense that we can select just the right home for that child, which means that child will move around less, which increases something that's very important called permanency. Illinois ranks last in the nation at securing permanency for our children. So by using this larger database, we can get kids in a better placement, and that will increase permanency. It's important for them to have the right placement, right? If DCFS can strengthen the family and send the kids home, that's always the best outcome. But if you can get them in the right placement the first time, what it means is they can continue their life from that point on, and they won't have to change schools. Every time kids change placements, they change schools. Every time you change schools, you lose about 6 months of education. And in Illinois, only 37% of kids in foster care graduate from high school. Now, across the country, it's not much better than that. Across the country, 50% of the kids graduate from high school. But we would love to see that 37% get much higher. So we recruit foster families. We operate that database. That database, by the way, is really, really cool. It's protected. It's in the cloud. All recruiters can use it no matter where they are. They can use it from their phone. We can place kids within moments and get them in a nice, strong placement. Then we have a brand new program called Springboard to Adulthood. So what we do in that program is we help kids who are 16 and above. Those are kids who are not going to return home. Those are kids who have not been adopted. It's very difficult to get those kids into an adoptive placement at that point. And so what we do is we're taking those kids, we're getting them into just the right home from that database of someone who wants to work with teens. And then we're providing wraparound services. We're making sure that they see a doctor, that they have eyeglasses, that they have dental care, that they have mental health care. Our big goal is to get them through college or some type of certificate program. And then we also provide services that get them a job, whether it's a part-time job while they go to school or a full-time job. David Hirsch, by the way, is a newly licensed foster parent. His goal, he and his wife, their goal is to work with teens. It's the population that needs the most help. What happens to these kids if they are not returned home or if they do not get adopted and they grow up in foster care? According to the University of Chicago, 45% of the girls are pregnant by age 19. I already told you only 37% graduate from high school. A huge majority of the boys end up in our prison system. It's a pipeline to prison. In California, we know that 70% of the boys end up in prison. And I would predict that even in Illinois, we don't keep those statistics. I bet it's higher. And a large portion of those kids become homeless because, imagine they don't have a high school degree, they don't have a family. So how can you help? If you know anyone who would like to be a foster parent or who would like to adopt from foster care, they can reach out to us through our website. Our website is letitbeus.org. In the chat, I put my contact information, my phone number, and my email. You can always contact me. People, of course, can make donations at any time. Organizations, companies can sponsor our fundraisers. They get a lot of visibility. Let It Be Us is run. We have almost every single foster parent in the state. We have their email. We have them on social media. We communicate with them regularly. And so if you're a sponsor of our events, you get in front of all those families. If you are an employer who would like to employ some of these kids, we'd love to hear from you. And so that is what I have to tell you today. And if anyone has any questions, I'd love to help.
Susan, thank you very much for your presentation. David, you never cease to amaze us with all the things you're involved in. So congratulations on committing yourself and your family to being a foster parent. Do we have any questions from the audience? I have one. When you were saying permanency, what is the average time that a child is in a foster home in Chicago or nationally?
Well, that's a really good question. Data from the Illinois Department of Children and Family Services is always difficult to get. We do know that they come into foster care late. Illinois waits a long time to bring kids into foster care. Sometimes that's good, sometimes that's not good. But that gets to that statistic of 60% of the kids don't return home. So that tells you what they're coming from. I honestly don't know the number of kids. What was your question? How long they stay in foster care?
Yeah, or in a home before they move to the next one.
Oh,
because you say that
it is ridiculous. It's not unlike us to see kids who've been in 4 homes in a year, 6 homes in a year. So what happens is DCFS farms out their foster care. So you've got about 20 agencies throughout the state, and they all make their own little database, right? They're all responsible for recruiting foster parents, licensing foster parents, then maintaining their little database of licensed foster homes. So when a kid comes into foster care, they put them in one of those homes. But think about it, when you have a small database, and I'm talking like maybe 5 licensed and open homes, what is the chance you can make a strong placement? And so what happens is instead of kids going into the best home, they go into the next home. And they will move again and again and again. So our kids in Illinois, that's why we rank last at that thing called permanency. Permanency means let's keep them in one place and give them a childhood. Whether you send them home, whether you let them go with a relative, whether you let them become adopted. Let's get that done with so that they can have their childhood instead of spending their whole childhood in foster care. So we rank last in the nation at permanency, which means we move our kids around all the time.
Thank you. Yes, Pancho. Would you like to come to the microphone? So everybody, no, but people on Zoom would like to hear your question as well. So that's why, okay.
First of all, what is your placement percentage? In other words, what is the percent of people that you're able to place after they come to your help, for your help? The second, what is the compensation given to people who are fostering kids per child per year?
Oh yeah, that's a good question. Let it be us places about 1 or 2 a week. It's a very hard thing to get them in these strong placements. Sometimes we place 3 or 4, sometimes it's 1. A lot of caseworkers give up. We had the case of a little girl last week. We started on Monday. We had a 6-year-old little girl. She had been bounced around through foster care a lot, so she couldn't, what they say, settle. She couldn't settle down. And on top of not being able to settle down, she bit everybody. So no one wanted her. Everyone thought like, well, I can take care of this 6-year-old. I can manage this. And then they'd take her in and they'd say no. So what we did was it took us till Thursday night. Thursday night was the deadline because the Thursday night she was going to a shelter. And what we try to do is keep kids out of shelters. That just makes things worse. So we were able to find a home of newly licensed foster parents. They had no children, a mother and a father, so two parents. 2 parents is also often stronger than 1 parent, and although nothing against single parents, because we need those 2. And the mother was a special ed teacher and taught at a special school of little kids. So we think that is the perfect placement. It's been there it happened on Thursday. So it's now just a few days old, but so far it's going all right. And what do foster parents make? Foster parents make about $500 a month. Sometimes it's a little bit less. Sometimes it's a little bit more. It's meant to care for that child. Every child has insurance. It's state insurance. It's worse than Medicare, but it is insurance. And then every child comes with a stipend. And then also, every child, even if you are adopted, every child from foster care can attend a state school for free. College. Oh, but what percentage get there? Only 3% get there.
Well, it's such a difficult life for some of these kids. So, well, would anybody on Zoom have any questions that you would like to share?
I'd like to just make an additional comment in anticipation of another question or two. I can remember talking to Susan better part of a decade ago. We got together for breakfast, and she had this idea, taking her photography skills and trying to do something about drawing attention to the problem that she's been describing. And the Division of Child Support Enforcement, the Human Services, they're all like, interesting idea, but we don't think it's a good idea to take pictures of children and put them out there. So there's been a lot of resistance, not because they don't want to help these children, but there's a lot of rules and regulations. You know, logically, we want to keep kids safe and not have their pictures out there because these kids are already vulnerable to begin with. And it's because of Susan's perseverance that this organization, Let It Be Us, exists, and that they've been able to accomplish as much as they have. But you can tell just based on the numbers, there's 22,000 or so kids in foster care, and this organization, which has made a real difference, right? Even though it's only a couple a week, a couple hundred a year, is remarkable. And what comes to mind, and the reason my wife and I have gone through the training program, was influenced greatly by Let It Be Us and Susan and Doug personally, but also some other friends who have put themselves out there, opened up their homes, opened up their hearts to these children. And for me, it's a little bit personal because most of you know that I've been advocating for father involvement. There's way too many kids growing up, without fathers. But in this case, we're talking about kids growing up, in most cases, without a loving mother or a father. So it seems like a small price to pay, the commitment to be available. And it's not with an eye toward adoption, right? Once you go through the training, you realize that the purpose is to get these children back into a stable environment, optimally with their parent or parents, a guardian or grandparents or whoever. And I don't know what the percentage is that get adopted, but it's not all that high. And it's like a lot of other things. We all think, oh, wouldn't it be nice to do something like this? And then, life's sort of busy and years go by and you don't do anything about it. So I would be happy to talk to anybody from my own personal experience, having been through the training program over the last year and a half, if that's of any personal interest. And Susan, I'm wondering if there's any other stories, maybe anecdotal, that you could share with the audience, the live audience, and those of us that are participating virtually, to give everyone a better understanding about what it is that Let It Be Us does.
Yeah, so, the whole placement is a very important part of permanency, matching and placement. So when kids come into foster care, we can use a little girl, for example, who's been sexually abused. She is going to do best, we know, if she goes with a single mother or two moms. So in our database, we were able to pull those out, and then based on location, sometimes she doesn't even have to switch schools. We can find a mom there, or we can find two moms. The other thing we do is we go after the teachers. Like, we love to recruit teachers, but also within school systems, if you have a child, those teachers can become the foster parent to that child, and then eventually go through training, but they can be a foster parent to that child before they've gone through training or before they're licensed. So what our team does is we find out what school that kid's from, and then go after those teachers to try to see if they'll take that placement and be the parent to those kids. Making that strong placement, that's where my heart lies, is in that recruitment and retention and placement. Oh, I'm sorry, I have a big, large dog. I'll tell you something. I didn't have enough kids, so I have three. I have 4 kids, and I have 3 dogs and 3 cats. But when you can get those kids in those strong placements, then they don't move around, and then they're happy, and they can be the child they're supposed to be. DCFS in the background is working to see if they can send that child home. And if they can't, then often that home that has them will become the adoptive home. But I have to tell you, according to all the other states in the nation, we rank last at getting our kids adopted. And it doesn't cost any money to adopt these kids. All the legal fees are free. Everything's free. And after you adopt the child till the age of 18, they continue to get their stipend. Now, if you get a little baby to the age of 18, that's $100,000 that child would get that you can keep in the bank. You can send them to a private school, paid for college that way. You could buy them a car. You can pay for a wedding. You can put a down payment on a house. I mean, that money is there to use for that child.
This brings me to another question. What happens to children that are not adopted when they are 18? They turn 18, and then what is there to support them?
So kids in Illinois, there are 22 states, and Illinois is one of them where kids get to stay in foster care till age 21. But even that is not enough. You all know who have children, 21 is not really at the age where they could be on their own. But that's where they become 45% of those girls are going to be pregnant by 19. The majority of those kids are going to become homeless. The majority of those boys are going to end up in prison. That's what happens to them. They go from one system to another.
Wow.
There's a huge financial cost. And there's a huge cost to ethically, because we lose their lives.
Oh, that's tremendous, yes. Okay, is there one more question, or we will close, Susan? And we're very grateful that you are sharing with us this reality. I think, well, some of us may have older children than 21, or others may have grandchildren of that age. So it is something very much to think about. And the work that you're doing is very important, because, even saving one life is worth every effort. So thank you very much. In recognition and great gratitude for your presentation, we would like to send you a certificate that you are going to see on the screen. And so this comes from us. And
Thank you.
Yes, I wish you the very best. And David, thank you once again for bringing another remarkable speaker to our club. All right, so thank you. Now,
Thank you for having me. Thank you, David. And David, keep up the good work.
Okay, so you're welcome to stay with the rest of our program, Susan. As you know, there has been a devastating earthquake in Haiti a few days ago, and we are going to have a friend guest, Liz Goggins, that is going to tell us about what Rotarians in that Rotary district in the Caribbean are doing to support the relief effort. Haresh Ramchandani, past district governor Haresh Ramchandani, was supposed to be with us today. He had a last-minute change of plans. So our dear friend Liz Goggins, who so frequently visits our club, is going to tell us about what her district is doing on this effort. Liz, go ahead. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Marga, and good afternoon, everyone. Good to be here with you. I am going to share just 2 slides with you. Okay, this first one, it shows, the Camp Perin was the epicenter. This shows the hospitals that have been set up. This area here, right underneath, this is very mountainous. There are still areas here that have not yet been, people have been able to reach. So they know that homes are down there. They know people have died. but they don't have any numbers. There's number of different groups trying to get up into those mountains there. The mountains range, they start about 6,000 to 8,000 feet. So there's still a big area that has not been reached. Okay. One thing that I'd like to let you know is that we have been asking for donations after the 2010 earthquake, or monetary donations, not sending supplies to any great degree, because the supplies that came in after the 2010 earthquake negatively impacted the economy of Haiti. Mm-hmm. Because the earthquake affected the southern peninsula here, the northern peninsula, and the western part of the country, they're still fine. But so many of the relief supplies are available to purchase in Haiti. So that's one of the reasons we're focusing on donations instead of actual in-kind donations. And when we put out the request for donations, we're using the DNA RAG, the Disaster Network of Assistance, for two reasons. Number one, because we're in the Caribbean, we are not a 501c3. Our foundations are not 501c3s or 4s under US regulation. The DNA RAG is. So if you make a donation there, either by mailing in a check, doing wire transfer, or PayPal, you do get tax credit, US tax credit. Plus our district disaster fund account is in Cayman, and it's really hard to get money in and out from different countries into that account. Okay, as I mentioned, there are a lot of logistical issues because of the location. Everything has to go into Port-au-Prince. Any flights, everything have to go into Port-au-Prince. They have to be cleared there, and then they are either taken by small plane or truck to the impacted area. And that, the trucks, as we've heard now, are, the convoys are being attacked. There are U.S. Marines on the ground, and they will be increasing the number of Marines helping out with the security. But logistically, it is an issue getting items in there. One thing, though, because we are Rotary and because we are so well known, Dr. Claude Serena, who was formerly the Ministry of Health, has arranged with the Civil Protection Agency that any shipment coming into Rotary moves right to the front of the line, gets cleared immediately with no import taxes. So, that was great that was set up. And we have a number of partners we're developing that are sending in medical supplies, orthopedic supplies that are getting right in. So that part has been amazing. There is a call went out today for these antibiotics that are desperately needed. If you have any contacts with any hospitals, if you have any access to these medications at all, if you can send them to Fort Pierce, and I can share the address there. We are working, Caleb Lucien, who is a PAG in Haiti, has working with his church and church organization. They are flying supplies out of Fort Pierce directly into Port-au-Prince, and I can give you that address. If you want to contact me about if you have access to these, I'll put my email in the chat, or you can contact our email, which shows on the bottom here. There's a constant need for orthopedic supplies, both for adults and children. There were 52,950 3 homes destroyed and another 77,000 that were damaged. And that's not including what happened up in the remote areas that people haven't reached yet. So, and the injury count is well over 120,000 people and growing. So, and, you know, as you can imagine, with homes being destroyed and collapsing, the number of crush injuries, broken bones is tremendous. And a couple of things we've learned very recently. The worst injured are being flown to Port-au-Prince. They're being taken out of the area. What's happening is once they've been treated, you know, and they can be discharged from the hospital, they can't get home. And it's not happening just with the hospital in Port-au-Prince, it's happening with all the hospitals. People are being taken to these hospitals and then they can't get home. So we talked about it, our committee meeting twice a week. We've been talking about that to see if there's some way Rotarians on the ground can help out with transporting people back home. And the other issue we found out about is people who are being treated for wounds. Once they are discharged, they have to take care of those wounds at home, but they don't have clean water. So their wounds then become infected and they end up back in the hospital. So again, you know, Rotarians, we're looking at reaching out with patients being discharged, providing water filters to them so they can at least take care of their wounds, do proper wound care at home. And just one last thing, I know we've had a few people have contacted us. They want to go to Haiti to volunteer. And at this point, the government has said that they are not allowing anybody into Haiti who's not a resident unless you are working with a certified organization coming to do a specific response function. Having people just come in and say, hey, I want to help, puts too much pressure. It takes resources away from people who could be helped to try and settle in that person and find something to do. So at this point, nobody's coming in. Later on down the line, as we move into mid and long-term recovery efforts, and that's where our focus is going to be outside of getting these medications. Our focus is going to be on rebuilding and rehabilitating. And the word from our members are the focus is to get schools open and medical facilities. So we are definitely focusing on medical or educational facilities in some shape or form to get those open to get children back to school. Okay, thank you very much for the time, Morgan.
Liz, thank you very, very much. I would like to read to those present in the room what Nelly Vasquez-Rowland has just shared with us. And she says, Liz, A Safe Haven was a huge resource for over 250 Haiti earthquake survivors that were affiliated to America. No, I'm sorry, airlifted to America by United Airlines in 2010. Please let us know how we can help if any survivors make their way to America and need a soft landing place. At A Safe Haven, we provide food, counseling services, access to jobs, and permanent housing. Rotary One was a huge partner and supported during this time in 2010. So there's Nelly, and also Liz, I believe we shared with you that our district 6450 also has a district outreach effort, and we are asked to contribute to either shelter box or an account that the district has set up for this purpose. I put you, our district governor and Haresh in contact, so perhaps you can share resources or, help each other with what you are doing. So I hope that this connection brings good fruit to the victims. So, because perhaps you're working next to each other, and it's good to know that you can help each other with these efforts.
Well, Margaret,
So does anybody have any questions about the Haiti effort? We are going to be discussing this in our International Services Committee meeting as well. And if members of the club are interested in contributing to either of the efforts, please, contact me.
Margaret, just a quick update. We learned like 2 or 3 days after the earthquake that there were 2 people from Shelter Box were in the Dominican Republic trying to get into Haiti. As of today, we still haven't heard anything else from Shelter Box, and nobody knows of anything that they are doing in Haiti right now. Harish has been trying to contact them. They're not responding. So we're kind of lost about what Shelter Box is doing. I know that the government has said they don't want tents because they don't want the tent cities coming up again. So they did reach out. I know there was a conversation with Shelter Box about sending the shelter kits instead, which contain the tarps and things like that. But like I said, we're trying to contact Shelter Box, and we've not heard from them.
Okay, well, I'll reach out to our district governor and let you know if maybe she can get in touch with you or what she is able to find out.
Great.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much, Liz, and I'm so sorry that this is happening once again in Haiti. So they don't seem to take a break there.
Yes.
All right. Well, speaking of which, donations, we have our fellow member, Bernard, who is very committed to helping Haiti. He has a number of orthopedic goods that would like to find a way to send to Haiti. And I think it is, and he's asking us for contributions of mildly used boots, sandals, knee braces, shoulders, or arm slings. I think the best is that hopefully Bernard can get in touch with you as well to see what is the best possible way of sending these elements if they're considered necessary and helpful.
I'm here.
Oh,
I'm here.
Bernard.
Yeah.
Okay. You have
Sorry,
to.
I'm driving. Yeah, we have $45,000 of these goods in a storage, but I like to ask for more. And then once we ship them all together. And what I learned today from the call is that there are no import duties. So I will follow up with Harish and with Liz and show them the list of what we have. We sorted them out last year in the summer with Roland, who was on the call, and also Natalie Loma. Those were the two helpers from our club, and other clubs help too. So we only would need money later on to ship, but if there's no import duty restriction, then we can ship any day.
All right, yeah, please speak with Harish and Liz to see what is the best, sort of donations that we can, that can be sent to Haiti. All right, thanks a lot for what you're doing, Bernard, and I hope you are able to go to Haiti personally. That's your dream, and I hope it comes true.
Thank you, yeah.
Later, of course. Thanks again. All right, now, we are doing quite well with our time, I think. So this is a time when we introduce our speaker, our guests from other clubs that are in person joining us. So I would like to ask you to come to the podium because if you speak there with a microphone, the Zoom callers will see just your back, and here they will see your face. So please join us.
Thank you for having me. My name is Britt Deviney. I am the president of the West Palm Beach Rotary Club, and we are about 103 years old and have close to 80 members. We've done very well during COVID, and since I've taken over as president, we've increased our membership by about 12% in the last 2 months. My guest with me is Anders Malmquist, and Anders' mom and my wife are at an international convention here in Chicago, the IAAO. My wife is a past president, and Anders' mom is going to be the incoming president in about 3 years. So I asked him if he was interested in coming to a Rotary luncheon. He says, what was that? So I've educated him really quickly. Future Rotarian. And he joined me today, and he was very happy to do so. And I want to say thank you for welcoming me to your club. I appreciate it.
Thank you as well. My name is Teddy Faust. I am here for the IAAO conference, and that's International Association of Assessing Officials. We meet annually, and it's quite a large organization, but I'm also a member of the Fairhope Sunset Rotary Club. We have 3 Rotary clubs in the area. 2 of them, one meets in the morning, one meets at noon, and one meets in the evening, and that's us. We meet on Thursdays at 5 p.m. We organized in 2009, so we're a relatively young club. We have around 60 members, and we like to have fun, and we're growing, and there's a lot of interest in our club. Thank you for having me.
Okay, well, Anders, it's really good to have you as well here with us. Now, at the Zoom call, let's see who do we have here. Well, Liz.
Hi, sorry, I didn't mention before, I am a member of the Rotary Club of St. Croix, U.S. Virgin Islands, and I love coming to your meetings.
We love having you, and we look forward to supporting this effort. Liz, thank you. Well, we have all members in the Zoom chat, so it looks like we have no guests. So it's
Marga, we do have Irv here today. Irv, we want to say hello?
Oh, Irv.
Oh, sure, I love saying hello.
I thought so.
Ruth and I are here so often, we're not sure we're here to say hello. We're just here with you. Anyhow,
hi there.
It's just wonderful to be with Rotarians. I think from our start, friendship and fellowship is number one, and then service comes automatically from that relationship. Incidentally, we listen closely, and Ruth says, are we going to help out with funding Haiti? I said, sure we are. All they have to do is send us a bill.
I can, pardon me, Margaret, I can easily draw up a bill for you, or easily.
You got it. Well, Ruth, there goes your dinner out.
Yeah.
Well, as you see, I see several fairly new members of our club that are in the Zoom call, and I hope this gives you a glimpse of how our network works, because there really are no geographical barriers. Somebody once told me that in Rotary, we're a big country divided by governments, and it's true, because we're able to move with a speed that few organizations, in fact, are able and can be as nimble as we are. And also, Anders, this also can happen at a high school level, if you're still in high school, and at a college level. We have groups that work at different ages. So if you're interested in community service, you know who you can speak with for ideas, and your parents as well, right? So
you know what, Marga, sorry to interrupt you, but I see we have Barbara Best visiting us today. Barbara, I don't know if you want to reintroduce yourself. I know you were here this spring for Women of the Year. It's a pleasure to have you again.
Thank you, Laura. Yeah, I'm so grateful to be Woman of the Year, one of the Women of the Year this year. And I was so interested in your content of your programming, given what's happening in the world, and so appreciate your global focus that I wanted to join in today.
Thanks for being here so much. And I apologize. I think I know all the remaining names on my screen, and I think everybody else is a member.
Marga, hi, this is Shada.
Shada, hi.
Hi. So today I actually invited my cousin, Paul Bannister, on the Zoom call.
Oh,
and
welcome.
He's with us. So it's the speaker, Let It Be Us, was very dear to his heart. He has fosters 2 kids as well. So he lives in Missouri, Kansas City. He also owns Allstate. He's the one that inspired me to become an Allstate agent. So he has multiple agencies himself, but I thought, he'll really get great information out of from today's speaker. So he's here with us, and Paul Bannister. Paul, you want to say a few words?
Yes, just really thank you for letting me join and letting me hear the information and things that you guys are doing in your club.
Wonderful.
Well, Paul, welcome. And also, we have Rotary clubs in Kansas City, Missouri, by the way. They're really a very energetic group over there. So Shada, talk with me. I'll be happy to make a connection.
Perfect. I'm on it. Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, as you see, we like to have new members, and last year we have had so many new faces joining our club. There is new energy, new thinking, and as I always say, the more the merrier, so we can continue doing the wonderful work that we do. Some of you were at our meeting last Tuesday. And we had a phenomenal speaker who was Dr. Ray Hodgson from Australia. He was up in the middle of the night to talk to our club. And he has been going on medical missions to Nepal for several years. And now his big project is to build a mother and babies hospital in a town 5 hours east of Kathmandu. So he sent us books where you can read his story. Also, if you're interested in West Palm Beach and having him as a speaker, he'll be delighted because the story is so compelling and he has done so much good. The construction of the hospital is going to be funded through the RAG. I can't remember the exact name of this RAG, but the hospital is going to be fully equipped through global grants in partnership with the Rotary International Foundation, of course. So I'm reading the book. Stephanie Lippian is reading the book. It is not only it is a very difficult story, painful, but heartwarming, and also it shows you the power that you have as a Rotarian and what you're able to do if you find a cause that you are committed with and passionate about. There is really no limit. So please consider purchasing one of these copies for your book or for yourself or somebody that you may like to share it with. Alita couldn't be here today, and she's asked us to make sure we attend the DEI series, speaker series that she's organizing, and the theme is going to be disparities in healthcare. There are two awesome speakers. I invite you to visit the district website, District 6450, and register. It is going to be on Zoom. So I attended the previous one a few weeks ago, and the conversation and the speaker were phenomenal. It is an eye-opener, so please make sure you can have a cup of coffee or a glass of wine in the evening when you're listening to this, because it is she has put a lot of work in sharing with us a reality that not all of us are able to see or experience in some parts of our city. All right. We have on September 14th, I told you September 7th is you're invited to drink Belgian beer at the Honorary Consul of Belgium at his residence. On the 14th, our speaker is going to be Jim Stovall, who is an author of 51 books, including the bestseller called The Ultimate Gift. Mr. Stovall is going to be speaking to us on Zoom. The meeting will be a hybrid, so we look forward to seeing you here again at the Union League Club. Please bring friends. And on September 21st, we also have a very fascinating program. The guests are going to be Chris and Nick Nicketts. They are the authors of a book called 100% Better: Reaching My Potential and How You Can Too. Also a hybrid meeting, but let me tell you about this. These two programs have been organized, the guests have been invited by our dear co-chair of the programs committee, David Hirsch, and who knows, the most amazing people. And the Nickets are an interesting pair, father and son. The son is the first athlete that has completed the Ironman competition, and he's Down syndrome. All right, and together with his dad, he has written this book. So you really need to tell your friends about this speaker. And we have 3 minutes left before I ring the bell again. Is there something that you would like to ask or to share before we close? Oh, Timo is our president-elect, so we're already working together. And yes, and I would like to thank the immediate past president, Eric Kempo, for your support and your help and your wise counsel, and as well Ed and Karen and Tamra, that without them, I don't know what we would be able to do, but it's so great to have you with us always, our guardian angels. So thank you again. And by the way, the sound has been phenomenal today. It all went well, so thank you. And I really look forward to seeing you the next time that we're all gathered here. And I wish the very best to our guests. I hope you have a lovely stay in Chicago. And that's all for today. And with this, I close the meeting. I hope you heard that.